Hello, you're very welcome back to DTTLive. We've actually been doing a series of live events throughout the summer, and now we are no longer doing them all around Kent. We're actually moving to digital afternoons. I'm Nick Hall, I'm the founder of the Digital Tourism Think Tank, and I'm very happy to be joined, as usual, by
Ramona. I'm the programs director of the think tank, and today we have a special guest all the way coming over from Ghent in Belgium.
Nathalie Dumon. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
We've actually brought Nathalie over. We more or less kidnapped her from the beautiful, historic Belgian and Flemish city of Ghent, and we took her to our DTT HQ here in the Garden of England, and she's already had the chance to experience some lovely Kentish wines, and also get to experience this little corner of England and everything that it has to offer. But we're actually here to talk about and also to work on the Digital Tourism Innovation Campus program. So we've actually spent the whole morning discussing this and really going through how we can hopefully make this the best ever Digital Tourism Innovation Campus. I guess before we get into the program, let's maybe start with some basics. The DTIC event is open exclusively to destinations, so it's really a DMO-only event. Now, Nathalie, you are actually heading up the European Cities Marketing Digital Cities group, so just maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Well, at ECM, European Cities Marketing, we have a knowledge group called Digital Tourism, where people from different cities in Europe, all ECM members of course, share knowledge about their digital marketing. It could be about social media or about the digital transformation in their city or their DMO, or just very tangible Facebook actions they did, or everything that's digital and tourism, sales or mobile.
And it's a really collaborative group that really likes to sort of share ideas and work together.
About everything that's digital and tourism.
And you've also been getting some talking heads together, right? So tell us a little bit about those and how they've sort of all come together as part of your group's work in the last few months.
Talking Heads was the keynote speaker. So it's a company called Talking Heads.
Ah, yes, I see. I'm already confused there. But you've had some great keynote speakers that have joined in your group to sort of give some...
About social business and how you can integrate social media in every layer of the DMO, not only the marketing department, but the tourist office, the CEO, everybody can be on social media. That was the
last one.
Yeah.
Great. So there's a plug there for Talking Heads, free of charge. Now let's get started by looking at the program for this year's DTIC. It's now the 4th year that we've actually been doing DTIC. So I think in that time we've had sort of 800 or so destinations taking part. The reason why it's so important to have you on today's program is because a huge majority of those destinations are the leading European cities, which come as part of European Cities Marketing, and of course this is a really important partnership to us. So we've kind of taken the last 3 years on board. We've said to ourselves, what can we do which is really going to give the destinations who take part in DTIC something very, very concrete that they can take back and put in place. And Ramona came up with the brainstorm idea of the Thinkathon. So that's actually going to happen on the 18th of November, so on the Wednesday in Barcelona, in the same place. Tell us a little bit about the concept behind the Thinkathon.
Well, last year before DTIC, we had a hackathon that we organized together with T-News, where we invited different hackers to form groups and develop different mobile apps. And back then, actually, Nathalie was actually the only one, the only person from a destination who actually said, I love the idea and I would love to be part of it. And she had so much fun. And seeing her, I think, working with different creative people made us think, well, you know, we would like to be part of it, but we had no idea about hacking, so we couldn't really do much. So the idea behind the Thinkathon is really to bring different creatives, different digital marketeers from all around the world really together into a room to work together as part of this Thinkathon. So at the start of the Thinkathon, We actually will divide them into groups of 5, so they have a group they need to work with. And the idea is that they thresh out ideas, they brainstorm about what do they think should be sort of the 2016 digital campaign, or almost sort of a digital calendar where they look at 2016 and really plan out what are the different opportunities, you know, on social media, on websites, with content, working together. So the idea is really that the team of 5 really work together, and we have great digital leaders. That's how we call sort of big players in the industry, who actually give up some of their time so the teams can actually go to the different digital leaders table. They will have very specific almost appointments with them over sort of 15 to 30 minutes. We have to work out the timings in the lead up to the Thinkathon, and really can say, okay, so we have great people like the guys from iAmbassador, for example, who are Blogger Network, so they can actually meet with them and say, so what are the opportunities with content? What are the opportunities with working with bloggers? We have a company called Dot3 who are all about sort of developing great mobile apps and also beacons. So here they can get some insight into would it be interesting maybe to deploy beacons? What are the opportunities?
And then how do you go about doing that?
Exactly. So the idea is over the whole Thinkathon, they work together, work with industry players, industry leaders, work out the idea to a really fully fledged concept. We then have a jury at the end of the day who then judges which concept they think works best, and they get really cool prizes. At the moment, we are trying to source some really cool things.
Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
We'll see what we can pull together there.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Nathalie? I guess as a destination, what is the idea of the Thinkathon? What does it mean for you?
As Ramona said, last year I enjoyed the hackathon a lot. It was really great. And a Thinkathon is also a good idea for smaller cities, because in a small city you don't have the opportunity to talk to the leaders at Google or at Dot3, it's called, because they only talk to the big budgets. Maybe people from a national tourist board can get access, but for small cities it's not possible. So it would be great to be able to talk to the digital leaders there and bounce off ideas with 4 other people that I haven't met yet. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So the concept, I think, I'm really excited. I mean, I love the idea that we can just get 4 cities. Maybe it's starting off with an idea that the Flemish cities, for example, who are always, you know, big kind of supporters of DTIC. You guys come as one for us, and getting you guys around the table to develop a campaign for 2016, but then sort of dropping almost into your table a great leader from Google or from Yahoo or from Dot3. So you develop your idea. Maybe it's around, you know, servicing your visitor as they are traveling through Flanders, for example, and giving them rich interactions and enhancing that whole visitor experience. And then these great leaders can just really help support those ideas, giving you sort of strategic guidance in terms of this is where you could focus, but also quite practical tips. Don't forget, if you want to reach these people, you need to really invest in pushing your message out there. Or if you want to engage people, you need to think about a budget that will actually allow you to deploy that properly. And I think these are all the kind of expert advice that will be really helpful from taking maybe what's a creative, brilliant idea into something that's also got the input of people who will tell you whether it's realistic and also give you the kind of right guidance on how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I think that the leaders from the companies still have other examples from other sectors that are not tourism that we can use and we wouldn't have thought of before. So it will be a good cross-pollination.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the mix of experiences within the teams will also be quite interesting, because you might have, you know, somebody from, I don't know, Cape Town, somebody from, I don't know, the States, and somebody from, I don't know, Ljubljana, for example, coming together as one group, and everybody has their own experience. So sort of the mix of that joint knowledge is quite interesting. And I think for us, what's really important is we're working with this, with our community, with all of the different destinations, and also the travel trade, because that's also interesting for them to come in. So for us, it's really important that the idea doesn't just die, the day after or the day after you're back in the office, but we're actually working on something which is called the Launchpad as well in the background, which we won't go too much in detail.
It's exciting.
But which will ensure that we can actually make this great idea a reality and actually implement it for crowdfunding. So that's maybe all we'll say.
You've said
for
too
now.
much, Ramona. You're going to be in trouble for that.
I know.
She's really said too much there.
So I guess I have to change the subject now and maybe focus on DTIC, which is also what we want
But
to
I guess
talk
just
about.
the last note on the Thinkathon. I mean, we also want destinations to think wider about how they approach this. So why not bring a great agency that you've been working with on the last couple of years to help them brainstorm those ideas, and for them it's quite interesting as well to be part of that process. This is one where we're saying we're not closing the door to non-destinations, because we think that agencies and other people that you work with in your own destination could actually help support your own thinking. Why not bring, say, Brussels Airlines, SNCB, to help develop a strong concept where you have partners already around the table with a commitment to building something really good. Just a few ideas and some homework for you to do when you get back to the office. But yeah, moving on to DTIC. So it all kicks off on the 19th, Thursday the 19th of November. And this year we really have a packed program. We have developed the program around a whole concept of destination transformation. And this is a completely new framework that we've been developing over the last year, where we really touch on the bigger picture beyond just marketing. So, I mean, Ramona, it'd be great maybe if you introduce the kind of key principles of what destination transformation, what our framework looks like, and how this then integrates into the program.
Yeah, so our destination transformation framework really looks at, on the one hand side, 3 stages that we feel a destination needs to go through, and that can be quite a lengthy, quite a timely process. So it's not just something that's done within, a year or so. So destination will start at sort of the getting ready stage, where they really review their digital strategy, look at what is the status quo and where they need improving. Then getting ready, which I think comes sort of towards the end of day 1, beginning of day 2, within our program, where we'll really look at how different destinations actively getting their destination ready. So it's all about that digital readiness. It's all about almost mapping out a roadmap of digital transformation across the organization, looking at every aspect. And then the last stage in our framework and also of the program really looks at how are different destinations succeeding. So I mean, in a minute we'll go into all of sort of the different case studies that are part of that, but it's really very practically looking at how can we implement different things, how can we use the latest trends, the latest technologies, also great almost service partners who can really help you deliver and help you take that journey and sort of really move forward. And within our destination transformation framework overall, we're also looking at 4 key pillars, which the program also touches upon. And those are engagement and innovation. We're looking more at sort of the marketing angle of a destination. And then governance and funding, which look at more the organizational aspects, but are of course similarly, if not more important, looking at business models, business strategies, also management.
So the real bigger picture. How does that sound? I mean, I know that this is something that has been, like, it's becoming more and more a topic that destinations are starting to think about. How do you think that some of the cities in Europe are looking at transformation, and whether this is something that they need to start thinking about?
Well, a lot of the cities have already changed their M in DMO from destination marketing to destination management organization, because they're all looking at their city as a marketing product and a city as a whole, and not only attracting visitors but also managing the visitors in their city. And I think in a couple of years that will be the main task of the DMO,
to really manage the whole experience.
Manage the whole experience and the visitor satisfaction. And of course, digital is a big part of that, because in a couple of years, everybody will be online. Roaming costs will disappear, I hope.
Fingers crossed. We've said it before and it didn't happen,
Yeah,
but
so
I think it's going to happen this time.
I think so too. And then everybody will be online in your city or your destination. So I think managing the visitors is very important, and being digitally ready.
Great. So let's take a look at how this looks on the program. And our great video guy, Rob, is behind the scenes, mixing it all together. So you should see this now. We're going to start off with expert stories and really just introducing what we're doing here. So you've mentioned the framework that we're working on. And we're actually going to start off by just introducing our team and what this complete model looks like and how everything is going to fall together in that. So we're going to be introducing some of the great people that we've got together and some of the companies that we're partnering with, and really show a kind of visionary example of really what this looks like. So I think for us, this is already pretty exciting because it's a big step change from what we've done in the past.
Yeah, but I think for us, as we have already worked with different destinations, and also this year quite a lot in different workshops and really across the whole of Europe with all sorts of people, it's really something that we have always done. So putting it all into one place and really having that as the key topic over the 2 days, I think makes absolute sense, because I know that last year there were some topics where you said, oh, I wish, we could have talked more about sort of business strategy or sort of about sort of the funding aspect and these things. And it's always tough to fit it all in, but I think this year the structure that we have set really makes that possible, really taking you from the start to finish, almost through the whole transformation story. The only thing that you have to do, of course, is when you leave DTIC, then a lot of them have to think about how can we make this now happen.
Yeah, but we've seen destinations holding workshops when they get back, so I don't think there'll be any concerns there. Maybe someone should do a virtual workshop so that everybody else can take part and they do the hard work with post-it notes and writing things up. There's an idea.
Good idea.
That's a little piece of work for the digital cities.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off with Michael Kessler, who's actually one of our new partners from Review Pro. They really look at the whole visitor, what the visitors are saying about the destination. So it's really that intelligent hook on what people are saying, the online reputation aspect, the sum of all of the different review sites and comments coming together. So you can really get a good understanding of sentiment about what's happening there live, and also benchmarking the destination with other destinations. So we've been developing something quite exciting here. Probably haven't summed it up in the cleanest way there, but it gives you a little hint of what that's all about. And of course, we'll leave it to Michael on the day to really introduce that. And then we have Destination Stories. And I'm quite excited to have Miek de Roek from Antwerp speaking, because we have in fact worked with Antwerp Tourism, not this year, the year before, and they have been in the process of putting in place mobile first strategy. Mm-hmm. And our hope is, and what we've certainly discussed with Miek, is that she will be able to share the challenges as well as the successes of doing that. And I think we'll be getting a much broader look, not just at the process of doing that, but of the wider implications of having a more digitally dynamic and mobile-first approach with visitors, what that means for the whole organization. So in many ways, there's been a transformative process, but I think this is something which has developed in the process as well. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what Miek has to say there. Now, this next session for me is really exciting because it's controversial. So, Nathalie, first question for you is, yes, she's not expecting this. No. What do you think about selling and destinations?
Well, we in Ghent, we don't have to sell because we are a governmentally funded DMO. So the only thing that we are selling is Ghent as a city, as a destination. And we don't except from the city card, we don't sell souvenirs or experiences or guided tours or anything. But I know there is a lot of discussion about it, and maybe in the future when we're pressured to make money, for example, that we'll have to sell things. But for now, we're not selling.
There are many destinations. I think we've worked with quite a few who feel very strongly for and against this. And I think there's very few people who are just relaxed about it and say, maybe it's something that's interesting. Either they've looked at it and they've decided absolutely not. We should not sell. We do not sell. That's not what a DMO should do. And there are others, and an increasing number of others, who actually believe quite passionately to the contrary, that they should be selling, that they can really improve the visitor experience and also do something for their industry as well. So we've got Vincent Duby from Geneva Tourism and Conventions. He's going to be sharing with us their new work in this area, where they've been working with the hotel sector. So we'll be really looking at how they cut the commission that the hotels are paying to all the big OTAs, and how they pass on the value to the hotels. I guess what's interesting for me is whether they're able to deliver the kind of volumes and traffic and revenue that the hotels are looking to see, because this is always where, you know, it's very hard to compete with such kind of big brands.
I think for Geneva Tourism and Conventions, I think they're at the moment at the very starting process of heading into that journey, but they've already asked themselves a lot of very key questions. So I think for a lot of the people in the room, it will be interesting just to see what sort of rationale lies behind sort of the decision and move towards that, and what were the questions, and also what is sort of the strategy behind it. And then I know we have later on in the program Uros from Ljubljana Tourism, who is already at the stage where they have sort of the selling on experiences on their website, where you can book any experience in Ljubljana, but also sort of in the areas around it. And that has proven quite successful for them. Not necessarily a financial success, but certainly in terms of them really providing a real value for the visitor themselves by really having this very strong focus on just creating and selling and giving visitors the best experience. And we also have an opinions article about this, so if anybody wants to read about it, we are quite in contact with him, and he is very happy to share that. So it's interesting to have Vincent at the very start of the journey, sort of working it up, but more industry focused, and then Uros sort of already in the process where they are successful, but not financially maybe, but still a success story for them.
It's very interesting, especially when you want to direct people to certain areas in your city or your region. Yeah.
I have to say, I really like Uros. Just for the record. I hope he's watching this. He's a really nice guy.
And he's a very active member of ECM also.
Yeah.
So.
And also of our community. I mean, this piece especially giving an update from where he has left sort of last year at DTIC. He even wrote a day or so before he went on holiday, but really wanted to make sure that we share this with the community. And I think it's important to have destinations really happy to share sort of the pitfalls, the opportunities, the challenges on the way. And I think even for them, they started off maybe thinking it would go a certain way, but in the end, it might have, evolved into something slightly different, but still very successful. So it's also interesting what destinations are working on. And he is a very busy man. I think he's going to be on our Instagram takeover very soon as well. So it will be interesting seeing what he's up to.
And speaking of social, you can actually ask us your questions. So we will be doing Q&A if you want to. I will try to receive them on my Apple Watch. But so if you do see me distracted, it's because maybe we're receiving too many. But if you do ask a question, we'll try and answer them. So any questions you have about the program, send them over. And if I fail to notice it, good colleague Ilaria may just hand me a written note and we'll try and answer them. But certainly looking forward to seeing Uros. And if Uros is going to, if you are interested in what Iris is doing, you can check out his blog post on our site as well. And he's really written about this topic as well, so you can get a sneak peek of that.
Yeah, I think that leads us then into a discussion, because we feel that it's very important to also then bring this topic then to the audience and also get the destinations in the room involved, because a lot of them might actually have something in store. So we'll bring a couple of more destinations into the discussion, and then we'll break into lunch, and then afterwards we have more sort of the creative side of things.
So then we're really looking at some of the most sort of inspirational content creators that we found out there, starting with Rob Whitworth. Rob Whitworth is someone that many destinations have worked with. He produces brilliant time-lapse style videos. So we were talking about this earlier. I think, Nathalie, you're going to have to go and check it out straight after this. He does some brilliant work, and he's going to be sending a video message about how he really works creatively and how all this comes together. And he's even worked with North Korea, for example, as a destination. So, I mean, in terms of something interesting and impressive, that's certainly hitting the spot.
I wonder how many people he attracted to North Korea.
I wonder. He's got a lot of attention for what he did in North Korea. Actually, some people found it offensive, but I think most people found it really interesting. So yeah, let's see what he has to say. Also, then we have a destination battle. We still haven't quite got to the point where we can reveal it. We're putting two destinations head to head. And
Which one?
we've got them, but we're not quite sure about the topics to make them clash with. So the idea here is to just get two destinations to really put two completely different points of view across, 10 minutes, 10 slides, and we'll get the audience to actually vote on what they like, what they think is... which one they agree with more, which view they would go with. So we're going to get a bit of competition and really heat things up there. And then one of our furthest flying visitors, I guess you could say, is Pure Michigan. Chad. Now he's not going to thank me for not knowing how to pronounce his name, but he probably is watching. So I'm going to give it a go. I believe his last name is Webersik, because I heard him pronounce this, but we'll get him in the room and he'll train me on that. But they've been doing some great work. He's probably watching this now. Everything that comes out of Pure Michigan is at a level higher than what we see from most destinations. They really look to innovate, and this is just a core part of their philosophy and how they work. And they've been doing some great things with live interaction with viewers on their website. So I guess we won't say too much more other than come along and see what that's all about. And then,
of course, we have to bring our DTTTLive back. I think last year they definitely brightened up the day for everybody, and I think at some point everybody was just laughing the whole way through, because they're really doing a brilliant job. So they will actually be sharing 5 campaigns that never left. They actually said, no.
There's only 5.
We have to do. we can only do 5 within the time frame. So that's going to be really good. And then afterwards, that gives everybody plenty to talk to in the afternoon break. And then we're heading into a really, really interesting part of the program, which is really all about making the business case for digital. I think whenever we work with a destination, that's often the hardest, just in terms of a lot of things that maybe a digital marketeer wants to understand, but then also, what can I tell my boss so he can actually give me extra funding, because it's so important. So I have a number of destinations actually talking about the research they've done, and
also how they can really demonstrate the value. Yeah.
Also, bring your boss to DTIC.
Bring your boss. Yeah. We should actually start a hashtag. Hashtag bring your boss. Hashtag DTIC 2015. I like that. I think that's a pretty good idea. But it's true. If you think that this is an event that's just about marketing, I think that's a real mistake. And it's easy to think that, because digital marketing, it all sort of falls into one pot. But everything that we've been talking about is beyond that marketing team. It's about the budgets that you invest. It's about how you hire, how you bring talent within the organization, how you develop them.
Transform your organization.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think we will actually task you with the with the challenge to
bring your boss
convince
challenge.
everybody to bring their boss. Definitely, that's a
Yeah.
good idea. And this is all day one, by the way. I mean, this is really a lot actually when you think about it.
Yeah.
So we're going to end with Doug Lansky, who's very let's say controversial, and we've asked him to answer what does success look. He may not have the most conventional answer for you on that. I think he's certainly got a lot of controversial opinions about what destinations should be doing. And what I'm quite sure about is most destinations will get infuriated maybe, but in the end they might say, he made some good points.
Yes, he's
So
on to something.
we like Doug. He's going to shake up the room a bit.
Yeah, and that will give us plenty to talk to as well during the evening social, where destinations can then have a word with him or face to face in case there is something that needs talking about further.
Smoothing over. Now, we're moving on to day 2. And we have used a lot of time in our live stream today, so we're going to try and move through this a little bit quicker. But again, a lot of content happening on day 2. And we're going to start with looking at the sort of business aspects. So tell us a little bit, Ramona, about what this is all about with the Arena USUS cluster and also some of the work we've been doing in Scotland. I still can't pronounce that, and it's really bad because
I know.
we host the Norwegian Digital Travel Conference in Norway.
Yeah.
And my opening line is, welcome to the Norwegian Digital Travel Conference. We've got the leading innovators from Northern Europe, from Scandinavia, from Norway, and this is all thanks to the help of the Arena USUS cluster. But I can never get it right first time, so I really need to work on that. But
And
tell us a little bit more about that.
My Norwegian has been coming along great over the summer, working quite closely with Heidi and her team, really on developing a digital accelerator framework, which really focuses on getting businesses that are part of the cluster, so it's a business cluster for around 100 businesses, ready to really move into the digital space, understand who they are, where they are strategically, where they should move, and give them quite concrete pinpointers to where they should move. So she'll give an update on the work that we've been doing with them, and also how does she look at digital readiness, because for her it's all about really empowering the local businesses and working quite closely with them throughout the whole of Southern Norway. But we also know that Innovation Norway is also working quite closely with them. So it's quite nice to hear from them, because very often they're a little bit more sort of digitally advanced than in other parts of Europe. And then we'll also move into a more interactive discussion, because we actually will have a live link that we will stream back from Scotland. So what will happen throughout the entire day, second day is we'll stream the entire parts of the conference to Scotland, and they will actually stream back a discussion, so there's a two-way conversation between their conference, their attendees, and our attendees, which would be quite interesting. And then we'll have a stage discussion where Nathalie will be again part of it as well, looking at what it exactly goes into transforming your organization and sort of the roadmap ahead. And then in the second part of the morning, we then actually look at sort of getting much more concrete in terms of what are the different things that a destination can carry out. So we look at sort of a concept, Think, Craft, Connect, that a Belgian agency, Profits, has
You've actually worked with them, haven't you?
Successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they innovative?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Okay,
They're
that's
fun
good.
also.
Yeah. And we're working quite closely with them, because they're also part of our destination transformation team and helping us help destinations and provide the support to really make that happen.
Only at a very innovative end of the scale, though.
Yeah.
That's our strict brief with them.
Yeah.
Only innovation, because this is really what they are best at. They're very, very creative.
Yes.
And then we're really moving on in the afternoon to looking at what does success really look like. And we've invited two great people, one coming back for the second time, to share some deep insights on this. So we have Daniel Steiner from the Austrian National Tourist Board. Last time he showed us, do you remember that absolutely enormous project plan that he had for rebuilding their website.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's still working on the last part of it.
It didn't fit on a slide.
Yes, I remember.
So the bit that was missed off, that's going to be shown this year. This goes...
The sequel.
Exactly, yeah. And this is such a big job, doing a web rebuild properly, especially when you're a national tourism board and you have an extensive site. And I think this is going to be very interesting for people to see part 1 and now part 2, where they really see how that kind of ends, and really looking at the last stages of doing a project like that, the testing, the implementation, testing, implementation, until they've launched it, which they should have it ready completely in time. And we'll see just how they get along with that work. So I think this is going to be really interesting to hear if everything went as smoothly as he had planned. And then we have Chris Chambers. Tell us a bit about Chris Chambers.
Well, Chris is from Tourism and Events Queensland, and they, of course, as an Australian destination, we've been following their work for years, and they're quite innovative. So he's going to be talking about how to actually optimize their digital strategy, looking quite closely at how they can actually use mobile and beacons across the whole of Queensland. I think what's interesting is they've deployed beacons throughout Queensland, which is quite a big sort of territory. Mm-hmm. And I know in Europe, a lot of cities or a lot of destinations are quite scared about the idea to, put beacons everywhere. But for them, it has been proven really successful, combined with the app, where they actually think about the entire visitor cycle before the trip. They're marking different things within the app, and then when they get to Queensland, it then tells them, make sure, this attraction is that far away, make sure you share your experiences, and afterwards also making sure sort of that they get the feedback as well. So that would be quite interesting. And then in the afternoon...
I have to just interrupt for some live tweeting action.
Some live questions.
So Maurizio Carpo, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yes.
Hi
Maurizio.
This live interaction, it's I'm still working out to manage the Apple Watch and the live stream. It's very, very challenging. But we look forward to seeing you there. Any questions? We maybe have 5 more minutes to answer them. So yeah, moving on. So beacons is really exciting, and I think most destinations know what they are and how they work, but they're still not sure to what extent they should be working with beacons, deploying them, interacting with visitors. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of a minefield because you can spend a lot.
Yes, and you don't want to bother people with information. Mm. You want it to be subtle, and but in the meantime, you also want people to find the information at the right time.
Exactly.
So it's this balance between informing people and bothering them.
Yeah. So here we'll be having very interesting data to share, because of course the app and sort of the beacon interaction also generates a lot of data. So we actually asked them specifically to share some sort of analytics, some analysis of that, because I think that's quite interesting to see just how much visitors are engaging with it and at which points.
How they're using it.
Exactly, yeah.
I have to say, ECM, you like this. ECM, they're loving the Bring Our Boss hashtag, so it seems like it's a goer. So we'll start with all the people who've signed up and get them to tweet with that, and then we'll keep going with it. Yeah, but it is true. It's really something important. And then getting towards the end, we're really pleased to welcome back Stuart Smith from Surgeon. Now Ramona has been talking with the guys at Surgeon about something very, very good that they're working on, which is programmatic buying when it comes to advertising. And this is really all comes down to targeting and making sure you're very, very focused with getting the right value for money out of what you're doing. They're going to be talking about that. And then we're going to be getting towards the end. We have probably, I shouldn't have favorites in this program, should I? So I won't say anymore. But we have Visit Copenhagen, wonderful Copenhagen. And we have a guy called Thomas Christensen, who I actually had the good fortune to interview earlier this year and learn all about a very, very well-designed campaign that they did using Instagram and the community there, and also engaging people and using a very sophisticated media plan to get a really big reach. So they used a good mix of social media and sort of broad reach media on on digital, through digital channels, and partnering with Norwegian Air Shuttle as well to have a very good commercial partnership. We actually have a video that shows a bit more about what that's about, so I suggest we take a look at it. Yeah. And we'll talk more about the social program after that.
My name is Ryle Meyer Sanderstrup. I work for Wonderful Copenhagen.
My name is Thomas Christensen and I work here at Wonderful Copenhagen.
We had to go out and market Copenhagen as a tourist destination towards consumers in the States.
The basic idea behind the This is Copenhagen campaign was to give the audience that we're trying to communicate to a look into the real Copenhagen, which is not the view a tourist organization like us would usually have. This is the perfect medium for telling stories about a city. It's like a little snapshot, a little postcard. Everything within content creation and media has changed. Everybody is doing this as opposed to reading a newspaper. So creating content that is fitted for this is something completely different. Like 140 characters is even more than most people want to read on a screen, and 15 seconds is actually a lot of time to have people to engage with.
When I'm telling about the campaign, I sort of like compare it to people going into a bar. You just don't go into a bar telling people about themselves, and but if you start asking questions about you, what are your interests, what kind of person are you, and then start talking about stuff related to that, then I think you have a much more better, chance of getting to inspire them and getting them to do what you would like them to do.
So that was Thomas talking about the campaign he did, and if you want to see more on that, you have to sign up for DTIC, of course. Now, the last thing we're going to be talking about today, because we have gone over a little bit on our time, is the social. Do you remember last year's social?
Yes, that was it Helena's goodbye party?
It was.
Yeah, I remember.
Farewell, Helena.
Yeah, it was the party that actually got nearly shut down twice by the police. I've never seen anything like it, I have to be quite honest, but it was a heck of a fun. I mean, it was so much fun.
It was
dancing, lights, I mean, we went all out there, so that was amazing.
I mean, when you have to deal with the owner of the bar in a back room, and he's saying to you, you have to stop. Your people are just partying too much. They're making too much noise. They're outside smoking. Yeah, really, really. So anyway, hopefully that's a bit of an incentive for people to go. This year we're taking it to the next level because
even better.
Yeah, exactly. We have sourced. Well, actually, our colleague Ilaria has sourced, and she's a bit shy, so she didn't want to be on today's live stream. I'm not quite sure why, but she has sourced the most amazing venue. It's called Fabrica Moritz, and they make one of the longest standing beers in Barcelona, and they have actually a brewery in Barcelona, which is their original brewery.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
And the party will be in the brewery at the bottom. So we are going to have a great evening with brilliant music. Everybody can let their hair down. One thing that's going to be a big change this year is that every destination can invite their colleagues who are going to IBTM.
Ah, great.
So this is a good thing. But we will have to charge for that, but it won't be a lot. It will be in the region of 25 to 45 euro.
And they know how to party. Those
yeah.
nice colleagues, they're the worst.
Great. So,
it's part of the business.
We've doubled the size of the venue. So DTIC alone won't make the party kick. So you have to bring your colleagues and have a really, really good night. But I know this is going to be one hell of a party. And also they have brilliant merchandise. I mean, it's really a tourist visitor attraction in itself.
Cool.
So it's also a great space to have a party. Think of an industrial brewery, beer environment. And they also do great food as well. So This is probably going to be the highlight, I hate to
At
say.
what time do we have to get up then?
Well, yeah, we
Second day is quite packed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, surprisingly, people always do turn up
Because
for the second day.
Yeah.
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 So
We have
that
great
says something.
speakers, and I think also that we have the Hotel Indigo again this year fully. So we have blocked the entire hotel again. So anybody who wants to stay should definitely book themselves into the hotel, because I think it's also a bit peer pressure. Everybody gets up, you meet sort of quickly for a quick
But
coffee
it's so
before the
interesting.
conference. Yeah.
And I should say also that they can bring their IBTM colleagues and stay in the hotel as well. I think it was a bit unclear last time. It doesn't mean book out 100 rooms, but if it's 2 or 3 extra rooms, then we can allow that. Because we've actually got 2 hotels this year, and the Indigo is private. So it's like we just rented a private hotel for you guys, so you can live it up, have a good time, and everybody you bump into in the corridor, in the loo, is a colleague from another city or a competitor from another
So
city.
you don't have to say, are you going to DTIC as well? You just have to say,
you
so
don't
from
need-
which
you don't have to
destination
wear
are
a
you?
tag?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we have some amazing things planned in the hotel. I mean, the hotel has been amazing last year, and this year we have so much in stock. I know our colleague Ilaria is planning yoga sessions in the morning.
She's going to be
city
doing them
runs.
herself.
We're going all out there, so it's definitely an experience in the hotel outside of DTIC as well.
And I'm going to be taking part in the Barcelona run. So in the morning, we're going to have a run. So you can get out and go run and do a running tour of Barcelona with a tour guide. So really, there's a
or
lot
just stay
extra.
for a chilled yoga session instead.
I say that now, but we'll see on the day. You know,
Yeah.
running an event has some responsibilities attached.
Especially after the social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that leaves us just to say, make sure you sign up to DTIC 2015 if you are concerned about transforming your destination, taking all of these disruptions we've seen in the tourism industry, tackling them head on, and turning them into positives for your destination. This is something you have to go to. If you want to meet 150 other destinations and learn what they're doing, this is also another reason you have to go to. And if you want to develop your campaign for 2016 without having to do it in the office and having the great creative environment of other people around you, then this is also a reason you should go.
Yes.
And if none of that is tempting you, then just think about a party being shut down by the police. That's definitely one you want to be at. So we will leave you with that video as a little end note, and just say head over to thinkdigital.travel where you can sign up, and if you have any questions, you can tweet us.
Shop top, shop it over.